Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Seasonal Tokens Podcast, where Polar interviews people so you can do more investing and less gambling.
Hello everyone, it is Paul here, the CMO of Seasonal Tokens. Welcome on another episode of the Seasonal Tokens podcast. And today we have another special guest. We have Edward from Commit Club. So welcome, Edward.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you very much for accepting my invitation. I think that we had a pretty nice talk before the recording. Let's see if we can get some of these conversations going on the podcast, but I'm sure it will be exciting. So, Edward, can you introduce yourself and your background with a few words?
Yeah, sure. When I graduated from college, I was making viral videos. I was one of the first viral video creators on YouTube. I've had hundreds of millions of views on my videos. I went on the biggest TV shows in the United States. I got out of YouTube. I didn't like working in the field for so long, found it quite grueling, and I taught myself search engine optimization. I did it for Microsoft, Procter & Gamble, Time Inc., ADP. I'm pretty much one of the best search engine optimizers in the world now. And then in middle of 2017, some mentors of mine came to me. This was during the ICO boom, and they're like, Edward, you're like the best marketer that we know. We need to do one of these ICOs. And I'm like, no. I have this SEO agency. I can't. They're like, we need to do it. And I started looking into it. I'm like, oh man, these projects are making millions of dollars in like a few seconds. And then I found out that one of my very close friends from back in the day during like my viral video days, he had left New York in 2013. He met Vitalik and ended up being a founding member of Ethereum. And we hadn't talked in years because he had children and was busy, and we both were working on our own things. And I'm like, okay, I got back in touch with him, and I'm like, okay, so I have this now into the crypto community. These ICO things are crazy. Yeah, I am a good marketer. Maybe I should get in it. And so I put the SEO agency on autopilot. I'm glad I kept it. I still have it to this day, but I went like full in on crypto. And we didn't end up doing a scammy ICO, thank God. But we turned an existing developer meetup into the biggest blockchain meetup in the world. It was ranking number 1 on meetup.com for biggest blockchain meetups for like years. Now I think it's number 5 or number 4. And you can see I'm on that. And we made the first play to earn game in crypto. Literally the first game. We launched a month after CryptoKitties, which wasn't really play to earn. And we launched mid-January 2018, made like a decent amount. Axie Infinity came like months after us. We were so early in the space that the founders of Axie were in our Discord server poaching our players. And like that's how early we were. And like we would have calls with like the founders of the biggest projects now, like OpenSea and Rarible and all of these projects because we were so big. And then we launched when the price of Ethereum was at $1,400 a token, and then a year later, the price had gone down to $80 a token. It was quite a big decrease, and a lot of people were telling us to turn our monsters, which were on smart contracts, into NFTs, and we're like, this crypto market, like, oh, we don't know, and we made one of the worst mistakes of all of our lives, and we got out of the space in 2019. And then in 2021, I got back into it with this project, Commit Club. We originally launched Commit Club as a Web3 project where you commit to a daily challenge using Ethereum. And now we're diversifying that into like fiat and free as well. And so that's where I am now. That's my story.
Really nice, really nice. So there was a time while you haven't been dealing with crypto, or you have been just more focused on something else? Because you mentioned that you have left the Play to Earn project for about 2 years.
Yeah, we did this voice messenger called Reverb, which actually, that thing is crazy. We've had 400,000 users on that. We have 1,500 daily active users. And my friend's dev shop out of Budapest, they're They're like, Edward, like this project is crazy. Like we want to just develop it, give us like a cut of the revenue that we can make. And so we're like putting in payment tiers for that now to capitalize off. I set up this like really, probably one of the best SEO funnels that I set up in my life. So if you put like reverb.chat into any SEO tool, you can see what we're ranking for. And we have just this really strong funnel of users coming in, and we're putting in payment tiers and iterating and making it better. And we did that during the 2 years that we were out of crypto. And then, oh man, but Reverb is cool, but we would have been like the first NFT game. You know, hindsight's 2020, but it is, we'll get back to this point when I tell you like, all right, yeah, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like early enough that I could have bought in CryptoPunks for cheap. I remember when I saw VFriends, Gary V's NFT, and I'm like, this is dumb. And I didn't buy that. And I was like one of the first to see that. I was one of the first to see Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like basically whatever I do, you just like do the opposite. That's
your mantra.
Yeah. Well, that's my advice to anyone. Whatever I do the opposite.
And you'll become a millionaire.
Yeah, basically.
Much faster.
Yeah.
Okay, but is it only this ICO project that has attracted you to the Web3 world, or something else, or the millions that you can make from the blockchain?
I mean, I'll be honest. At first, it was the money, and it was the fact that I had like this through my friend. Then, like, I started going to crypto events, and especially back in 2017 and 2018, the people that you met at crypto events, and even now, were so different than the people you would meet at normal technology events. I was meeting, and especially given my role, like having the biggest blockchain meetup in the world, I was meeting heads of industry. I was meeting larger than life political figures. I was meeting people with crazy secrets to share with me. And I was learning so much. And I of course, like, whenever I get into a space that I'm unfamiliar with, like crypto, like at the beginning, I was really intimidated by it. So I read all the white papers, and the Ethereum white paper was super cool. The Bitcoin white paper was amazing. All the altcoin white papers, I didn't understand. And now I realize that I didn't understand them because a lot of them are just BS. And that was in 2017 during the ICO boom. And for sure, like, none of them are around anymore. So like, yeah, the technology, I recognize that the technology was really transformative as well. And it was an exciting space to be in. I mean, it was the first boom. I think the first like crypto boom was in 2017 to 2018. And then the second one was 2020 to 2021. And it's an amazing space to be in. And yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that having the chance to talk with such brilliant people is a great opportunity, and I'm sure that you have learned a lot of things from them, and that's why my next question is pointing in this direction. What do you think are the most important things that you have learned from these guys and gals about the Web3 space?
I got into build in public through being in Web3, totally accidentally, because a close friend of mine, Vriti, she has a really awesome NFT metaverse project. It's like Web3 for education. She calls it the Eduverse, and she's very active in build in public, and she introduced me to that world. I really got into that because of Web3. Also, I think build in public is a rebellion against the scammy, shady practices that a lot of Web3 companies will do, where they build in stealth mode because they don't want to, like what they have to share is not worth sharing. And where there's people are getting scammed all over the place. And when you're building in public, when you're fully doxxed, like it's really the opposite. And it's kind of a rebellion against that. And then the other thing is, I think I became, what's the right word for this? A lot more of a realist about the way that the world works. Because I met with people who normally just other people wouldn't meet with, and I learned things. And I had completely eye-opening conversations, especially because I was doing this in New York, which is like one of the centers of the world. And so it kind of opened my mind to how the world works, what's possible, and yeah.
Maybe you can share some of this insider information for our listeners.
All right. So like, I'm not going to say specifics, but like Elon Musk on Twitter yesterday, he's like, oh my God, like what was happening behind the scenes at Twitter is going to blow people's minds. And he's like, expect this in the coming days by an official report from Twitter itself. So basically, he's going to reveal all the ways that Twitter was censoring free speech. And I mean, everyone at this point, I think, knows that Twitter was censoring certain words and people. I don't think what I'm saying there is controversial. But like it seemed like he was going to make this report explicitly say what happened. And so I screen capped this tweet and I sent it to a friend who, actually I sent this to one of my co-founders from our Play to Earn game. And I'm like, man, this is going to be really crazy. And then I started thinking though, after I sent that, I'm like, but will it? And I think to us, it's not, because it's just at this point, like we've accepted like this is how the world works. Like Tornado, like when Tornado.cash got taken down, and I never used Tornado.cash, but it was just the fact that it could be taken down because everyone thought it was so decentralized. It just kind of confirmed that's how the world works. That's like, so would you like to explain what happened with Tornado.cash?
Maybe you can explain it better,
Okay, but you know what Tornado.cash was.
Yeah, and one of the guys from Tornado is still waiting to hear what is going to happen with his life. Is he going to jail or not? So
I thought he was already arrested.
Yeah, he is arrested, but they haven't decided if or for how long he's going to stay in jail. But he's in the arrest actually. Mm-hmm. So I suppose there is a difference to be in the jail and to be just arrested.
So Tornado.cash, it was this decentralized, it was a decentralized project for making money untraceable. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Again, I never used it, but I knew that it was decentralized, and I knew people who had talked about it. And there was a coordinated attack, and in one day, it was completely taken down. I think they were hosted, their site was on AWS, that went offline. Their GitHub, taken offline, no one could access the repository. The founder was arrested, all of their social media channels were suspended. All in one coordinated day, in one coordinated attack in one day, that all happened. And it made me realize, though, so that surprised me at first, but then like when I thought about it, then it was just like, yeah, I had heard that's how the world works, and that's how the world works. And then the other thing that it made me realize was that this whole promise of decentralized technology, in order for that to actually be real, they all like the tech has to be using other decentralized technology. It's not just one piece of tech can be decentralized, because if it is, and someone like doesn't like, if someone powerful doesn't like it, they can take it offline, just like tornado.cash, and make it very hard to access. People still access tornado.cash. Like smart contracts are still live. People use them daily, but the reach is a lot less than it used to have.
Yeah, but there was a very solid campaign from the United States government how bad it's actually to use this, and that you can be probably prosecuted if you are found that you are using this. So I suppose that this has had the biggest impact on the reach and the users that are currently somehow getting advantage of what Tornado Cash can offer.
You think the negative press had more of an effect than taking down? Oh, I think the statement of taking it down, that's scary. To me, that's like, shoo.
I think that like people are more scared of getting prosecuted than a project going down for a day or two. So because
that as well, but I mean, like, yeah, that as well, sure.
Yeah, but because if you think a little bit about it, how many times Solana has been out of the space recently this year? 3-4 times?
A bunch.
Yeah. And there are still a lot of people that are using it. And actually, like, there are some stats that are showing that the amount of people that are using it is growing. So I doubt that this is the biggest reason why someone maybe stopped of using something when it is beneficial in the end. But if the government is saying that you can be punished very bad because you're using that, then there is a big chance you to stop using it in the end.
That as well. Yeah, sure. But I think a display of power, there's one thing to say something, and then there's another thing to make a display of power.
True.
But now, I mean, look, like MetaMask just started putting in IP tracking. And I know people who are working to implement KYC within MetaMask. That's coming as well. And it's just, I actually really believe in blockchain technology. I think blockchain technology is I think blockchain tech is here to stay. It's going to be like private blockchains will be used to reduce fees, like for all sorts of parties. CBDCs are going to be a thing. Whether or not they use a blockchain, I mean, that I don't know. But I think blockchain tech is for sure here to stay with private blockchains. And I'm still pretty bullish on Bitcoin. Ethereum, though, like, come on, that's like 80% of that runs on AWS.
Yeah, but you know that I don't know if this is the true. Actually, nobody knows except those that are somehow involved in that. But you know that we are being all day long brainwashed with the information that this is what actually retail investors want in order to join the crypto space heavily, right?
That's what they say.
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know if this is the true. If this is true.
That was the other thing. You asked me what did I get out of crypto. The other thing was I just questioned everything, not just about like the world, but about like, I mean, myself and like my previous beliefs. And yeah, because you meet people who make the news, and then you're just like, what is fact and what is fiction?
True. The only thing that you have somehow met the good guys, and you haven't had the chance to meet the bad guys, those that are somehow changing this news and making bad news from them. Like I'm talking about politicians and media owners and things like that, because I believe that in the end, the most impactful news are created by these guys, by governments,
Sure.
media owners, who work with the governments, and everything in between. So
I want to ask you, because I have the opportunity to learn from you on this show. What are you really bullish on?
yeah, so honestly, I'm thinking the same way you do about the blockchain tech. I'm sure that it will be part of our life. Um, I'm bullish on Bitcoin, that's for sure. I'm still not sure about Ethereum. Honestly, I'm pretty bullish also about Charles from Cardano. Like, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that this guy is different from others, and he gives me some sort of hope that things can go in a better way than what we see right now, and leaders like him can lead us in a better position than what we are currently in. Of course, there's some how to say it, not lies, but some misinformation about his background in his education. I don't know if you have read that. But still, like, we know that in blockchain, not the education is the most important thing, and also to be a good leader is also education not the most important thing. So let's say that people like him make me feel more bullish about the whole crypto universe. For now, I'm still not very bullish on the NFT space. I see some good developments going on there, but as a whole, like, I think that if crypto doesn't evolve, like the blockchain technology that doesn't evolve much, like, NFTs will not find good place in our lives. This is what I think.
I just listened to a podcast. I actually would like to hear more about what we're talking about with Cardano, because I don't know too much about that situation. Go on.
Yeah. No. I'm listening.
Oh yeah, well, with the NFTs, I just listened to a podcast from Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's super bullish on NFTs, of course. And he suggested this, which made a lot of sense to me at the time, and I just changed my mind on it yesterday. And Gary Vaynerchuk, he said, like, okay, like, the collectibles markets for tickets is huge. Someone has a ticket stub from a popular event from 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, and that thing can sell for a lot at auction. And just having those tickets as NFTs, that makes it a lot easier. It's just as digital tickets, that makes it a lot easier. And when I first heard that, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Sure, a ticket as an NFT, and then you can sell it, and it carries this memorabilia with it. That made sense to me. But then I started really thinking about it, and it's like, it's not that clear cut. It's a lot more nuanced, because even like tickets, I think there's a difference when you buy a physical item versus a digital item. And maybe that will change in our minds if, like, Mark Zuckerberg is right and the metaverse is here to stay, and it's only getting bigger. And I think if you believe that the metaverse will be huge, then the digital ticket thing will also be huge, and we'll all live in capsule apartments and just spend all our days in VR. I don't see that happening anytime soon, especially without, like, haptic sets. And even then, it can be very disorienting. But I think there's a thing like wanting like a physical item in your hand. And so even that use case with NFTs, I can't say I'm super bullish on. And I guess, like, an NFT video game, like Pokemon as NFTs, that makes sense. But it's so hard to do it in an immutable way. It's almost impossible, because, I mean, I've made many applications now, and you're always iterating, and you want to give yourself maximum flexibility to iterate. And that was my big problem when I actually understood what public blockchains meant. That was my biggest thing, was just it doesn't seem realistic. And I guess you could make the argument, oh well, then you have a DAO and it votes on changes, but DAOs don't vote. Like I'm a member of some big DAOs, and no one cares. Like no one votes on Snapshot. I have like way too many projects on Discord, and in fact, like most people would rather they would really just give like delegated vote. They would give votes to delegates who actually care, and that's just the way the world works. And so yeah, I'm not. I don't know. Like when I hear people who are still really bullish on NFTs, I'm wondering what are they seeing that I am not. Because a lot of very smart people are bullish on NFT projects. I think like A16Z's Web3 fund, like Chris Dixon, like all of them, they're very bullish. And I want to know like what are they seeing that I'm not seeing.
I can mention one thing.
Pardon?
I can mention one thing that
please.
Yeah, it is that they have invested millions in NFT projects. So you have to believe that NFTs are the future. Otherwise, they may reach the same position as our meta research.
Oh, sure. I mean, yeah. I think the other thing though is like we're in a winter now, and look, I was wrong. I was super wrong in 2019. I got out of space in 2019, and I'm not out of the space. I wouldn't say I'm out of the space anymore, and I don't think I'll be out of the space because I'm actually advising a bunch of Web3 projects. But in terms of like believing the feasibility of decentralized projects for the near future, can't say that I do. Altcoins, I think pretty much all altcoins are not decentralized. And then if it's not decentralized, like I don't know. I guess there's a point. There can still be a point. There can still be a point. But it's hard to make that argument. It's like you could also just do it on a database and open up all the information and put in APIs. But yeah, I don't know.
I think that you have started in one position and you have finished in a far away from it.
Yeah, because there's so many like contradictory points to the space, and I did feel from the beginning that totally immutable projects go against like just like lean startup method, proper development method, like the iterative process. And yeah,
but yesterday or the day before that, I don't remember, I had a conversation with a guy that has led a lot of ICOs, something like 300 or more.
Wow.
He has a project that deals with that.
He's a market maker.
No. He has a platform for ICOs.
Okay.
So what he told me actually made me think a lot why we are in the current situation, why we are in this winter, except the stupidity of FTX and things like that. He mentioned something that somehow...
Prices were down before FTX, though.
Yeah, but there was another event before that, you remember?
Oh, right, yeah.
So it just helped more. So he told me something very interesting that somehow I knew, but I wasn't sure about it. And he told me this one. Did you know that actually what investing companies, funds, and family offices have been searching for before this winter? Like what type of projects, what they have been looking in the projects in order to decide if they're going to invest in or not. And I told him my idea that maybe they have been searching for something that had a lot of hype, something that has been getting a lot of traction. And he said, exactly, you're absolutely right. All of the funds and VCs that have came to us to invest in different projects, they have been searching in very well hyped projects with a good popularity, but none of them have asked me about the experience of the teams, about the market fit of the product, about the white papers and things like that. So in the end, when you know that, you can clearly find the answer why we are in this winter. Of course, events like the mentioned events help this to become a worse situation. But when the whole industry has been built around hype marketing with no value, with no fundamentals, with no real solving problems and services, what do you expect when a black swan event happens? You expect exactly what you're experiencing here. So I totally understand you when you're saying that you're not that bullish on the space except Bitcoin, and we discussed that in the before the recording, and it's totally understandable. And I understand everyone who is saying that the crypto space right now is very bad if you are thinking on the investing side, because most of the projects have been lying about their goals, about their roadmaps. They have been mostly like cash grabs and things like that. So I think that we're going in a better world right now, but for now there will be some pain, some price that we'll have to pay, and blockchain will be here, but we'll be suffering from some time, don't you think?
I do. That the question is how long.
This conversation will be continued next week on the Seasonal Tokens podcast.